And good afternoon, everyone. I hope everybody's having a great day. Uh, it's a little warm out here, but it is what it is. I'm going to apologize now because I will tell you that I would be willing to bet that this phone is going to ring about 15 times before we get done with this class. So let's go ahead and let's talk about what we're going to talk about today is a disposal. A lot of people have disposals. You can have them if you're on a septic system. You can have them if I'm on county water or city water. Um, eh, eh, you just the disposal. So the first thing that I want to go over with you is what is coming up. Okay, so the the first one is today here on the far left side, right side. Then on July 23rd, we're going to have the Easy Stock intro to the app, inventory management, rapid parts lookup, ordering, virtual basic level. Okay, if you are one of me, if you're, oops, you know what? It didn't take. Let me try this again. Okay, there we go. So it's the Easy Stock app is on July 23rd. That's between 3 and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. What is the Easy Stock app? To me, that's the smartest app out there. It helps me manage my inventory. It gives me a rapid parts lookup. I can order. I can even go in and look at what my fast moving parts are. So that's on the 23rd of July. Then my last class will be next Thursday. That's at 8 a.m. my time, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's on the Samsung RF 18A 5101 SR. Okay, I've got a few bulletins. They're not, one thing about going around is I can't get a whole lot of service bulletins from Samsung. I used to have a contact and he was able to share them with me. But unfortunately, that contact has now left Samsung, so I don't have anybody to get them from. So we have the Hisense R600A seal system that is in Louisville, Texas, on August the 12th, from 8 to 4. Okay, so that's Central Time. Then we have the Hisense R600 in person in Dallas. Once again, that's August the 13th. So if you can't make it on the 12th, maybe you can get it on the 13th. Once again, that's the R600 seal system. That's in person. Then we have electrical fundamentals for HVAC with Skill Cat HVAC chick Jennifer. That's on August the 14th. That's from 12 to 1. Then we have the Hisense freestanding range, tear down, and repair techniques. That's at the Dallas Louisville Center. That's on August the 14th from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Okay. Then we have the Hisense freestanding gas range again. That's on August the 14th again, and that's from 12 to 3. So if you can't make the one in the morning, hopefully you can make the one in the afternoon. Then we got the Dallas Training Center. We have a 4-day training, seal system hands-on training, lock ring and flame, understanding refrigerants and how they work. Leave for training with expert and knowledgeable to start repairing appliance seal systems. Okay, Richard's going to be teaching that, and you can get lock ring certified. That is $695. Everything else so far has not cost you a dime. Okay, then they have the 2-day training. Okay, this is lock ring only. So then once again, that's with Richard, and you become lock ring certified. That one is $400. Now that's a 2-day training. Okay, then once again on August the 20th, we have an Easy Stock app that is going to be out there. So if you want to get it, that's August the 20th from 9 to 10. Okay, Electrolux fall training. That's the cooking and the dishwasher repair. That's at the Lawrenceville Training Center. That's going to be August the 25th from 8 to 4. Then we have the Easy Stock app again. That's August the 27th. That's going to be inventory management, learning all about that. And if you haven't done that, I highly suggest that you take it out and use your phone. I use a tablet instead of the phone. I like it because it's bigger. Same thing if I have the wow, I almost said LG, the GE Smart HQ device. I also pair that up with my tablet. That way I've got a big picture that I can see, and I don't have to go up and try to increase the size and everything else. Plus, if I'm showing it to a customer, it really helps me. It really helps me to be able to demonstrate to the customer. Okay, so we're going to start with our disposal repair. So let's talk about the principles of operation. So what does a disposal look like whenever you whenever you cut it in half? Here's a picture of that. That is in the, if you look at it right there, this unit right here has two grinding blades. That's all it does is grind. So what happens is, as I put stuff into the disposal itself, it pushes it down. It then the centrifugal force throws it out against the outer ring that actually helps grind it. And then with the centrifugal force and the blades turning, that helps keep it going. As it goes down, it passes through the second one, and then it goes out the disposal thing. So if you look right here, the food is pushed through the center chamber. The unit is turned on with the water running, and the macerator uses centrifugal force to force the food on the outer edge, and then the food is ground up until it will now slide through and flush out any of the drain. Many of the times you're going to find that if the customer doesn't clean it, you're going to get a foul odor. And then we're going to go through that as what do we do whenever that happens. Okay, so as the food falls through the inlet mounted to the sink, it gets pulverized by the lugs. This is a little picture. I would not advise you to do that. It will cut you up. It gets pulverized by the lugs, and the centrifugal force forces it to be ground by spinning on the outer wall, and it keeps grinding it till it gets small enough that it will fit through there. Once it does that, it falls into the second chamber, and that's where the soft food particles end up, and then out through the drain. The disposal is not meant for bones, plastic, or other options. I will tell you that 9 times out of 10, whenever I have been out for a disposal and the call is my disposal doesn't work, the first thing that I look for is something that has gotten hung up and now the lugs can't function, they can't move, and it trips the breaker. So if I go in and I find the breaker trip, I'm going to immediately I'm going to open it up so that I can see down in it, shine my flashlight, and then I'm going to look for that screw or that piece of plastic. Excuse me, goodness. Or it could even be the bone. Okay. Always run the Disposal for a short time after your dishwasher runs. If it's hooked into the Disposal, that's one of the things you want to make sure that you do. A lot of people don't do that, but that's a good thing that you need to tell the customer that once they run my dishwasher is hooked into my Disposal, I need to run it a little bit at the end of that cycle, and all that does is just make sure that everything is free and is not hung up. Okay, this allows the particles to be rinsed through the unit and down through the drain. That's why you want to do that. That way, I get all those particles through the drain and it's washed. My disposal valve will not operating when the plunger is turned on. Okay. There are two types of disposals. There's a switch and there's a plunger. What's the difference? Okay. Well, my switch, I turn the water on and I turn my switch on. That activates the disposal, and I now have it so that I can get rid of whatever I have. If I have a plunger type, what happens is I go and put food in it. I run it. I now turn the plunger. It's a little cap, and whenever I turn it, it turns the disposal on, and I just go ahead and whenever I take it out, whenever I take out the plunger, I go ahead and rinse some more, puts the plunger down and twist it. I am not a fan of the plunger style. I like the switch style, but that's just me. Okay. Number one, never use drain cleaner because that causes plastic and rubber pieces to melt, and a technician can actually get burned, especially if I'm standing there looking over it. I can actually get it up into my face. Okay. Cleaning and maintenance. Do not attempt to lubricate your disposal. Okay. The motor is permanently lubricated. The disposal itself cleans and scours its internal part with each use. Never use lye or chemical drain cleaners in the disposal, as they cause serious corrosion of the metal parts. If used, that's going to result in damage, and all warranty is voided. Okay. Mineral deposits from your water can also force stainless steel turntable to stop. Okay. Working the appearances of rust. Do not be alarmed. Let the stainless steel turntable is not corroded. You just need to use it more often. Okay. If the reset is tripped, you can see the reset button right there. Then I'm going to check for something inside the unit. Okay. Use the wrench or the unjamming tool. I call it a wrench because that's what it is. It goes right in the center of the disposal itself. Use the wrench or the unjamming tool to break the object free or remove the unit. So if I remove the unit, this is what I'm going to have. I can now turn it upside down. I can take that wrench with it turned upside down, and I can work it back and forth to free it up. Once it frees up, you're probably going to find something that has fallen down into the oh, excuse me. It has fallen down into the area that you set the disposal on. Okay. check it, check the checking the disposal, check the overload, and use the wrench to make sure that nothing has locked the blades, such as a piece of bone or some glass or some plastic. That's usually what happens. It's usually a piece of glass or plastic, or one of the things that used to kill me was you'd find a little screw in there. The customer would be like, "Where in the world did that screw come from?" Well, a lot of the times that comes off of the handle of one of the pots that they've used. Okay, so that's where the wrench is. If you look on the right side, that's how you put the wrench in, and you use it to break everything up. Okay, what if the unit doesn't have a place to put the wrench? Okay, this is a picture of one that I have, and it doesn't. You just don't have the thing to do. What am I going to do? Check the manual. If need be, use the online user's manual. The unit has reversing blades, which could clear the jams. You may still need to use tongs to remove glass or screws or anything like that. Okay, so look for the overload to be tripped, which is right there. You can just press that back, hold it down, and it will reset. Okay, you may have to unmount the disposal if you can't get the object cleared, or you don't have a unit without with no wrench. This usually due to bone, glass, or plastic that's fallen into the disposal itself. Okay. Number one, always turn off the breaker. Unplug it. If you've got it so that there's an outlet right there. If not, I can just go to the circuit breaker box and find the circuit that runs, and I can trip it that way so that I don't have any issue. Okay, clearing jammed objects that have fallen into the disposal. I usually start with a pair of tongs. Like I said, I open those tongs up. I move it so that I can see what's down in there, and I look and try to find the blade, what has stopped it from turning. Okay, then if I have to, I unmount it. Okay, if I unmount it off of the sink, it's not hard. If I unmount it off the sink like this one, what I have to do is insert a screwdriver and turn it counterclockwise, and that will loosen it. Sorry, I had to think about that for a minute. Okay. One of the things that I can do is there's some tools that you can order. Okay. This is an unjamming tool. If you look at that unjamming tool, you can see where they put it in, and it actually fits down on there, and you can now move it side to side and break it free. Or if you have a wrench area, if there's a wrench slot, I can just use the wrench. If the disposal is never clean, you're going to get this right here. This is what I was talking about. This is a nasty disposal. Nobody has ever cleaned this thing. But once again, how do I clean the unit? You know, what do I do to clean the unit? Okay, I can start out with using just a couple of drops of dish soap in there. Okay, then I run some water in there. I try to clean it that way. If that breaks it free, then I'm good. Also, I can just keep my dish soap. I can also use what I do myself is I start with dish soap to try to get some of the smell. That helps a lot. I use Dawn. That's the only dish soap that I ever use is Dawn. The other thing that I can do is I can take ice and put about a good handful of ice in it, running the water, and then I turn it on. That cleans everything on around the blades and everything else. Then if that still doesn't get rid of it, I can use lemons. That gives it a lemony smell, and it helps me. It helps me to make it so that it's not so bad, the smell coming from it. Then if I need to again, I can if I'm not getting everything I need done, I can then do ice and lemons again until it's done. Okay, checking the operation of the unit. Let's go back and figure this out. So I need to test the motor because I get in and I get a hum. That's all I get is a hum. So what am I going to do? I'm going to check in the unit with power applied. I'm going to take my multimeter. I'm going to stick in my power on my power side, my neutral on my neutral side. And I'm going to, with it set to 120 volts, I can check for power that's going to the unit itself. If I have 120 volts, the power supply to the motor is good. If not, check the switch or the breaker. Okay. So I'm going to turn the power off. I'm going to unplug the unit. I'm going to use a multimeter and set it to the lowest ohms scale. Check for continuity between the white and the black wire. If you have continuity, the motor is good. Okay. So if I have continuity, the motor is good, but I could have a bad overload. So if the overload is bad, most of the time it's easier just to replace the whole disposal. And if my motor's bad, I'm going to replace the whole disposal. Whenever I first started in this business in 1978, we repaired disposal. They were expensive. Now they're, at $100, I can get a new disposal. Or if I don't think I'm going to use it, I can just take the disposal out and put a regular, just another drain in. It's up to whoever is using it. It's up to the customer. And I always try to give the customer the option of what to do. Okay, let's talk about correct installation. Okay, there are two style. One is a continuous feed and one is the batch feed. This is the one that I was talking about when we first started. So the continuous feed is the one that's on the left. If you look on the one on the right, that's where I was telling you, you fill it up with water, you push it down, you turn it, and that activates the disposal, and that you undo it. Then you have to fill it up with the water and repeat the process about 3 times. That's the reason that I don't like it. It's a whole lot easier for me just to come over here to the continuous feed and go ahead and turn the switch on with water running, and then I can actually let it run and get everything cleaned out. Okay. Then there are 2 types of units. Okay. There's the corded version and the uncorded version. Okay. You look right there. That's the uncorded version. This is the one that I showed you. This is the one that I have. It is uncorded. So I have to put one of these fittings in. Once I put one of these fittings in, I go ahead and run the wire, and I have to pull it out. And if I use the one that's on the right side at the bottom, I have to actually lock it into place. If I do it properly, I can actually not have to use the lock ring that's on just to the right of that. because I can spin that nut and it will actually insert and it will stop. And then I have to get the wires through. Okay. So we're going to stop right here for just a minute. I want to see if anybody has any questions on what we're doing right now. Okay. My name and my number and my email is running across the bottom of the page. If you need to contact me, which I just had a technician send me an email and one to call me today, use my email address. If you call me, I'm probably not going to answer the phone at first. But just leave me a message and I guarantee you I'll get back to you. It may, if it's like middle of the day, it may be the next day before I get back in contact with you. But that's what I try to do, is make it so that if you guys have questions or you need something, you can contact me. Okay, let's go ahead and get back to it. So depends on if you have a hardwired unit or a plug under the sink and what the box style will tell you. Okay, the one that I had in my house in Daytona was it was hardwired. So I had to literally I had to hardwire it back in whenever I went to change it. That's the reason I had a spare. And then I just replaced one for my aunt, and hers was actually had a plug, and so she just used the plug, and I plugged it in. And after I rewired, not rewired, after I replumbed everything for the inside. Okay. Let's keep moving right along. Okay. See right here is the lower end. This is the brass. Okay. So you got brass grinders, and the it's a little bit cheaper made. Then you have a high end, which is the one that my aunt went with, and it's got the high end stainless steel grinders, and the grind chamber has a whole lot of padding to it, which kind of reduces the sound. The perfect example of the one on the left is one that they use in the is an Insinkerator 2, which is just a one that they use in all the apartment complexes. So it's really loud. But if you get to a high end one, or even the mid grade, has a whole lot less sound to it. So that helps it. And then if I get the one that was in my aunt's that she bought, had the reversing switch in it. So if the unit thinks that it's stuck, it will actually reverse and try to throw whatever it was out. Okay. So they come anywhere from a 1/3 horsepower. That's for a small household. Doesn't use a lot of, has infrequent use. And it's only for soft food, scraps, and leftovers. Okay. It won't take any bone. None of that will go down there. Okay. The 1/2 horse, that's probably the most common. That's infrequent weekly use. Soft food, scraps, and cooked meat. Now, the 3/4 horse is a mid-sized household. It is frequent weekly use. It has harder scraps it'll take. If you throw a bone in there, I'd still tell you don't throw bones in there. But if you got something like a chicken bone, it might handle it. I just tell everybody don't put bones in it. Now the big daddy is the 1 to 1.25 horse, and that's for large households. That's with daily use and harder scraps with bones and pits. Okay, I still say don't use it. We had, whenever I worked for the well, school system, all the kitchens had this 1.25 horsepower. And every once in a while, I still would get a call out there because one of the bones got hung up there and I had to go in and unjam it. So I'm just telling you what I prefer is, doesn't matter the size. It's not meant for bones, pits, anything like that. And whenever we're talking about pits, we're talking about a peach pit or avocado pit, something like that. Okay. If something happens and I want to get rid of all my smell, this is what I can do. Some of the units actually have a septic system cleaner. Okay. It injects a small amount of enzyme into the waste to aid in the septic tank disposal of the unit. I actually have a disposal. I have a septic system now, and I have to. I just do this. I don't have this unit. That's a very high end, and I don't have that unit. What I do is flush down the toilet, something to aid in the septic system to being able to dispose of it. Okay, here's a picture. Right here is the food waste disposal. This is a 1/3 horsepower. This tells you it has a 2-year limited warranty. It is a continuous feed. It also has its septic tank safe. It tells you what kind of grinders are in it. This one had stainless steel grindings, and then we have that it's pre-wired. So it tells you right there. That it tells me right on the box. Okay. So this is the one that I put in my aunt's house. So it worked very well for us. And she had, knock on wood, she hadn't called me in the 9 months that she's had it. Okay. So if I'm going to take it down, the first thing I'm going to do is put a bucket or a pan under the disposal so that I can catch any water as I unhook all the piping. Okay. The dishwasher drain line, if it's tied to the disposal, I'm going to have to be very careful because I will get water all in the bottom of the sink. The hardest thing for me is squeezing into the bottom of under the counter, because of course there's a divider right there, and I'm very wide at the shoulders. I wish I was narrow at the hips, but that isn't going to happen. So I can actually getting myself in under the counter to where I can work on this and it not cause me any issues. Okay. So I want to make sure that I've got a bucket. Not only do I want a bucket, I want some towels. I want to be able to throw some towels down. And this is what I do whenever I change one out. I take and put the towels, put the bucket down, then I surround that around with towels. Then I go ahead and start and unhook all the water supplies, all the drain supplies. That way I can take this unit out. Once I do all of that, then I can take and slide everything out, put the towels into that bucket. Then I can go and take that outside, and I can go and get my screwdriver. I have a long screwdriver that's very thick It makes it so much easier. I had a I had a I had a little one, and I ended up having to just use my big one. Um, so one of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to unscrew this fitting right here. This is where my bucket is underneath right here. Okay. Then I have to unmount this garbage disposal. If you can see right here, this is where I use a screwdriver, like the one on the right. This guy has a little bit different usage for it. If you notice, this one is broken, so he definitely had to go and fix this. So he has a little tool built, but I prefer just using the screwdriver. I can get my screwdriver, and by inserting it into that little ring right there, and I can undo it by turning it counterclockwise. Okay, insert a large screwdriver between the flange and the mounting ring, and twist to loosen the mounting ring. You can see it right there. Okay. Once you loosen the ring, support the disposal while pushing up on the disposal. Rotate the ring, and it will actually fall into the floor. You have to be very careful. You have to support it. I actually I have a really bad shoulder, so I have come up with my own method of doing this to hold this up while I'm loosening it. I actually have a jack. So I put my jack underneath it. I crank my jack until it's tight. Then I go and I start to spin that ring off. Then I have to lower the jacket a little bit until I can keep moving it till I can get it all the way off. So if you have shoulder problems, this is another way that you can actually get things done. Okay. Is the unit corded? This right here is a corded unit on the right. The one on the left is not corded. Okay. If you're buying the disposal for the customer, I suggest the corded unless it's hardwired. Okay. That's just my suggestion. If I have an outlet, I'm going to definitely buy it. I'm going to definitely buy it and plug it in. Okay. If not, follow these procedures to install the cord. Okay. So install the strain relief by turning it counterclockwise into the disposal. If you notice on the bottom left side right there, that is designed so that I don't have to put the nut on it. Used to have to put the nut on it, but thank goodness they finally got smart and fixed that. Okay. Then push the cord through and grasp the cord in with pliers. Usually I don't have to grasp it. I can get my finger in there and get my cord so that I can pull it through. Okay. Now, once I've done that and I pull this cord through, okay, the one thing I'm going to do is not remove this piece of cardboard. I have been in there and found somebody that removed it. It's not a good idea to remove that. It causes a place where metal to metal, and you can get a short. Okay, I'm going to connect the wires. The ribbed wire goes to the white wire from the disposal. Okay, so if you look right there, you see that has a ribbed wire on it. That is the neutral. So I'm going to hook that to the white wire on the disposal. And this is for any 110 cord. The ribbed wire is the neutral. Okay. Install the wire nuts and the ground wire. I'm going to tell you that the last one I installed is the one that's on the left. I have found a new way. I always hated the one on the right, because I've got to tighten it down and then I've got to secure it. So either I'm going to use heat shrink to secure that, or I'm going to use tape, which is what I always use, was tape. But this new one on the right, on the left side over here, I just put the two wires into it and shove them in, and it will actually lock in just like it does on the wire nut. And I know for a fact that it's not going to come out. So the one on the left is what I use. You can buy those at Home Depot. You can buy them at Encompass. You can buy them at Lowe's. I think that even Harbor Freight has them now. Okay. So as I'm getting ready and I'm installing this is what it looks like from the very bottom. So if I'm going to replace the sink flange, I'm going to have to get plumber's putty and put it all the way around. Then I'm going to put the gasket in. Then I'm going to put the backup flange in. Then I'm going to put the mounting ring in, and then I'm going to put the snap ring in so that it won't come out. Okay. Now I will tell you this: almost every disposal that comes into the U.S., they all have the same flange. Okay, the sink flange. I can use that. Doesn't matter if it's an InSinkErator, if it's a Whirlpool or any of the other brands out there. They're all made by basically one person, or there's actually three now. But it used to be InSinkErator made them all, but they just had a Whirlpool brand on them. So that right there is the way that it is. And then I'm gonna, whenever I get ready, I can go and I can actually take this flange. It's got two screws in it right there you can see one right there. So that's how I insert that around the corner. That actually pushes in, and I tighten it down. Okay. Then I just take the disposal from the box, separate the disposal ring and the mounting bracket. So if I realize that I don't have a leak, I'm gonna install it, and I'm just gonna put the disposal in there. With my aunts, that's exactly what I did. She had a disposal that was like 15 years old, and I just hooked it right up, the brand new one, hooked it right up and put it right in place. And I didn't have to worry about it. Okay, follow the instructions. If I'm going to use this flange, like I said, I'm going to have a piece of plumber's putty. I'm going to roll that out. Then I'm going to put that flange in. Okay, then I'm going to have to put all the other pieces in that we talked about. Then the last thing is to snap that ring into place. And then at the end, I'm going to tighten it up till it's flush, and it will actually squeeze all the plumber's putty that you don't need out on the bottom, and I can just take my finger and clean it. Okay. Always prepare the length of the elbow from the old one, and some of the times you got to cut it to fit. So if you look at this one, you've got these. You've got this one is at least 1.5 inches longer than the other one. So I'm going to cut it for that 1.5 inches. Okay, connecting that disposal mount. There's my rubber gasket that we had talked about. Then I've got my two screws. I'm going to just go ahead and tighten those down. And then I'm going to install that. and then I got to hook up all of my fittings. And that's pretty much all there is. Okay. Before installing, I sure am glad that I put this slide in here. I used to run an installation company, and it never failed. Whenever I had a brand new team that we brought in, 9 times out of 10, they would forget to punch out this hole that's in the disposal. And if I forget to punch this hole out, guess what? The water never goes down. Okay. So the dishwasher fills up with water. That's what this is for. Okay. I have to use a large screwdriver to punch that out so that I can get the water to drain excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. I have to punch this out, or else I get water backing up into the dishwasher. So this is only if my dishwasher goes into my disposal. If it doesn't, then I don't have anything to worry about. But if it does, I got to do this. And it used to be a whole lot better to punch it out than it is now. This is all plastic now. Okay. Then whenever I get done, I'm going to tighten that flange on that tailpipe. I'm just going to finger tighten it. Then I'm going to go ahead, and once I do that, here's a good thing. Do not reuse the seal from the old disposal. Every new disposal comes with this seal, and you never want to put that seal in there. Okay. Support the disposal with one hand and start to rotate the mounting ring with the other. I can tell you that I can't do that anymore because of my shoulder. That's why I have my method, which I go and put it's called the jack method. And I just put my jack in there, tighten my jack up, crank it up. It fits until it's nice and flat. I go around and go ahead and tighten it all down. Once I do all that, I'm now ready to take my jack out. I go and feel all the way around the back side to make sure that this unit has all sides are tightened. You can do this and have it where one corner is down, and that will cause a leak. Okay. At this point, I can rotate the disposal to align the discharge pipe. So I can never get it all the way down. I don't tighten it as far as I can until I'm ready, until I have it lined up with the discharge pipe. Okay. Make sure that the mounting ring is tightened evenly all the way around. This is what I was talking about. It's a little flat. If not even, it will leak. If you look right here, you can see how it's dropped on the back side of that unit. So whoever installed this didn't install it properly. So now what have I got to do? I'm going to have to reinstall it. This is another thing that makes my method of the jack helps me, because I can tighten my jack up, make it flat. I can spin that ring off. I can bring it back up and flatten it back up and tighten it back up all the way, and I'm ready to go, and I can tighten that ring. Okay. You can use a pair of channel locks to tighten the two pieces the rest of the way. I can do it with a screwdriver, my big screwdriver. I prefer to use that, but that is another method that you can use, is you can use the channel lock to tighten it all the way up. Okay. Then I'm going to connect the P-trap to the disposal and the dishwasher connection if it's wired that way. Once I do that, Well, maybe. Okay. Whenever I get done, after I have all the things in that I think is done, I'm gonna turn it on. I'm gonna run water, turn it on, and I'm gonna check for leaks. There's nothing worse than getting done with the job, take all the stuff to the truck, the customer runs it, or worse than that, you have to come back the next day because you thought it didn't leak, but lo and behold, it did. So now that's the reason I always tell you to check for leaks. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? We're a little bit early today. Tomorrow, next Thursday will be my last class. So I just wanted to tell everybody that's here, thank you. I really appreciate you letting me help you. And like I said, thank you very much. Let me get back to here. I'm going to just ask that the one thing that you do is spend just one more minute and 50 seconds with me. And then here's the video. Thank you. I will see you on Thursday. If not, you guys have a wonderful day.